Bonani bafowethu. Udadewethu niyabila. Hayi siyencenga. Engathi phezulu kakhulu nje la. Ngiyithola sengiyiwa nesituli.
Wenzeke sikababunene.
Esikababunene.
Colleagues ngizosozwa ngani bese ni ready.
Hey. I'm ready me.
Okay. Colleagues, good morning. Thanks again for joining us on this media briefing. The MEC is going to go through the statement, after which you'll have the opportunity to ask your questions. Over to you, MEC.
Thank you, Mr. Mlotra. And good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, from the media and the public at large. Today we have convened this meeting, or rather this media briefing, to officially release the report, the forensic report on the procurement and distribution of sanitary towels by the Department of Education in KwaZulu-Natal. Now, at the outset, we wish to state that the Department of Education has a sole and singular mandate, which is teaching and learning, an activity that mainly happens in a classroom. All other things that the department engages on by right should be measured by how they contribute and facilitate ease of teaching and learning in a classroom environment. The Department of Education engages on a number of initiatives aimed at improving learner outcomes, and these include, amongst others, the National School Nutrition Program, Learner Teacher Support Material, which is LTSM, building of 21st century schools, and investing on cutting-edge technology in our schools. In KwaZulu-Natal, almost 70% of our schools are located in underdeveloped rural and township areas across the province. These are schools attended by learners from impoverished families who can barely afford anything or any other thing except waking up their kids to go to school, with the hope that they will get most of the support from the schooling system. The impact of these harsh realities is felt more by the girl learners who have to miss certain school days every month in order to respond to nature. As a consequence of this, the academic performance of learners gets severely affected, and so is their future. To intervene in favor of these girl learners, the Department of Education conceptualized the program of providing free sanitary towels to all the deserving learners in the province. The ultimate objective of this noble program was to improve learner attendance and performance of girl learners. It therefore became part of the necessary intervention by the government in the same spirit with the National School Nutrition Program and Learner Teacher Support Material. Now, during the year 2016, the Department of Education launched a pilot project to provide sanitary towels to indigent girl learners in order to reduce dropout rate and improve academic performance for these girl learners. An amount of 20 million was set aside for this pilot program for selected schools in quintile 1 to 4 of our schools, and specifically targeting grade 4 and grade 12 girl learners. Around April 2017, the department approved the purchase of sanitary towels for 953,122 girl learners at the cost of 54,899,822. Now, this is in addition to the first 20 million, which was a pilot project. So this 54,899 was now an expansion of the program from the pilot program. And again, in August 2017, the department approved and issued a second order for the same number of learners and at the same cost. So in total, the department between 2016 and 2017 spent an amount of 129,799,654 to procure sanitary towels. So the first 20 million was for the pilot project. And then the two orders of 54,899 each were spent as part of expanding the program. Now, during the implementation of this program, the allegations of oversupply, supply to non-deserving schools, and possible flouting of processes and procedures were raised by the unions and other organs of society. These allegations led into the commissioning of a forensic investigation conducted by Pumlani Mkhize and Associates Pty Ltd. Now, the following, therefore, are the key findings of the forensic investigation report. At the stage of expanding the program, the sanitary towels were to be procured for girl learners in all public schools from grade 4 to grade 12, and thereby ceasing to be a program aimed at only indigent learners or girl learners in selected quintile schools. The number of girl learners to benefit was determined by statistics obtained from MEC, which is Education Management Information System, for 2016 school year, but to be used in 2017 implementation plan. That not only were these statistics for the incorrect year, but were well known to be unreliable. In determining the number of girl learners to benefit, neither the needs analysis nor any evaluations of the pilot project was performed. That the department was misled in approving the procurement of unnecessary sanitary towels. There was no guide for the distribution and implementation of this project. Circular number 65 of 2017, which sought to address this issue, was only signed into effect on the 27th of July 2017, when the distribution had already started on the 23rd of May 2017. In one of the meetings by the people who were involved in managing the program, the issue of surplus stock was identified and a decision was made to deliver such surplus to the districts and head office. However, in the submission made to the HOD subsequently, the number of girl learners to benefit remained unchanged, and no issue of surplus stock was referred to, nor any evaluation of the first orders. In a survey conducted by the investigators, it was revealed that an excess of 2,702,065 packs of sanitary towels were not needed. The site visit conducted by the investigators in each district offices confirmed significant surplus stock being stored in various places. That the district offices had no role in the implementation and monitoring of the project. And lastly, that in quantifying a loss in relation to sanitary pads distributed, it was established that 388,680 packs were not delivered to district and head offices. A further 64,269 packs were not delivered to schools. These packs are valued at the cost of 4,310,040. On recommendations, the forensic report recommends that appropriate disciplinary action be preferred against the Deputy Director General for Institutional Development and Support Branch, the Chief Director for Social Enrichment Programs, and the Director for Special Needs Education. These officials were identified as responsible for mismanagement of the project, resulting into oversupply and financial loss to the department. The report further recommends that we take necessary steps to recover the losses incurred as a result of the failure by the service provider to make full deliveries for goods and services procured. Having applied my mind to the report, I came to the conclusion to accept the findings and recommendations of the report. I have since written to the officials affected by the adverse findings to inform them about my decision and that I have referred the report to the HOD for implementation. The HOD has reported that as we speak, the implicated officials have now been suspended pending the outcomes of the disciplinary hearing. I also want to deal with the matter relating to the Director of Employee Relations, who is also now been put on suspension. And I'm dealing with this matter because it has generated some interest amongst the sector, with some alleging witch hunt or persecution. The director in question is facing and has to answer to allegations relating to the appointment of a particular educator during the marking of 2019 metric examinations. The educator in question did not meet the requirements and therefore did not qualify to be appointed. However, it is alleged that she was appointed after the intervention of the director, who allegedly directed that the educator in question be appointed because he's a girlfriend to the MEC. The educator was removed from the marking center after the DDG for Curriculum Management and Assessment and the HOD were alerted of these allegations. All the scripts that she had marked were remarked by suitably qualified educators. In conclusion, we want to state on record that without passing any judgment against anyone, fraud and corruption have no place in the Department of Education. Where there are allegations of fraud, corruption, or any other malfeasances, we are prepared and determined to act without fear, favor, or prejudice. Like we have said in a number of staff meetings, no one must commit any wrong in the name of the MEC or of the ANC. The MEC by law cannot involve himself on procurement matters, and I stand by that. I want to invite any employee who is given an unlawful instruction purported to be coming from the MEC to report that immediately to me or at least to the privy. Equally, the ANC does not involve itself on procurement matters in any department. If the ANC has a view on any policy matter in relation to the department, it will relate that to MECs as its employees, or rather as its deployees. So if the ANC has a policy opinion on any matter relating to the Department of Education, it will speak direct to me as a deployee of the ANC. And it will be me who will relate that policy position to the department. Therefore, anyone who came under or come under the guise of an instruction from the ANC without MECs and without due process should also be reported. We are determined to fight all forms of corruption, wrongdoing in our department, and we dare not fail. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, MEC. There you are, colleagues. As per the norm, you are going to introduce yourself and give us your question. Over to you. Sir?
Avil Singh from News 24. Thanks, MEC. I'd just like to, just two questions. The oversupply of sanitary towels, is there any way that those can still be used, or is it expired? And just in terms of the supply chain companies that you found any irregularities with, will those companies be named and blacklisted? Thank you.
Any question? Makanya, SAPC?
Thanks, Mr. Blocker. There were also allegations of towels not being substitute of enough quality. Did the investigation focus on that? And two, how many officials exactly have suspended as a result of this investigation. The third question, let me say, is in terms of trying to recoup the monies that have been lost, what actions are going to take?
Maybe MEC, let's answer those two questions now. There are other questions here that the other colleagues are sending. We'll take those after the two questions by the MEC. Over to you. Okay, MEC, we have the question here from Sne from the Daily News. There were allegations that the funding for the sanitary towels project was increased from 20 million to 209 million. Did the investigation establish how this happened? Another one, MEC, how is the department planning to monitor the sanitary towels project moving forward? Those are from Sne from the Daily News.
Okay. Right, on the first question as to what happened to the oversupply. Obviously, once that was detected, and in the process of now trying to clean up the whole project, the oversupply was then duly distributed in the following year to all the deserving learners. So there was nothing that was basically thrown out because of it being oversupplied. So the stock indeed was oversupplied, but it was kept in certain offices to be used in the following year. The report found no irregularities in terms of the awarding of the contract. So it is specific that there was no irregularity in terms of awarding the contract, but the problems started when the project was now being implemented. You will know that we have reported that the first problem was that there was no evaluation of the pilot project, which was 20 million. Secondly, the quintiles that were targeted, initially it was quintile 1 to quintile 4, but the report reveals that the sanitary towels were even distributed to schools in quintile 5. Now, schools in quintile 5 normally are schools that are attended by learners from well-to-do families, learners that can afford, that can buy these sanitary towels themselves. So actually they don't need as such. And the third point was that the targeted girl learners, they started from grade 4. Now, a girl learner in grade 4, and it used to be standard 2 in the times of Makai. Now, you can't expect a learner in grade 4 to be needing sanitary towels, because she will not have reached that particular stage. But the program was designed basically to start from grade 4 up to grade 11. I mean grade 12. And the other point that is being raised in the report was that it was no longer about indigent girl learners. Basically, when it came to procurement and distribution, it became an issue of all the schools in the province of KwaZulu-Natal that were from quintile 1 to quintile 4, from grade 4 to grade R. But eventually, even schools in quintile 5 were given these sanitary towels. Some brought them back because they said, wait, there's no need for us to get these sanitary towels. The report does not make any finding insofar as the quality of the sanitary towels, and on the actions that we'll have to take to recoup the money. We'll obviously write to the company concerned and take the civil action to recoup the money as directed by the report, and that's the legal process that we're going to follow. On the allegations that it increased from 20 million to 109 million, yes, 20 million first was for the pilot project, which was in 2016. And in 2017, the department decided to expand the program, and it expanded it in 2 batches. The first batch was for about 54 million, and the second batch again was for the 54 million. And in the expansion, after the first order of 54 million was issued and delivery made, it is evident from the report that the issue of oversupply was identified. But instead of correcting that, the second order was made again for 54 million, and for the equal number of learners that were identified for the first order, that led to the oversupply. So there was basically some kind of failure to diligently manage the program, because you would have expected that if the issue of the oversupply during the first order of expansion was identified, the managers responsible should have made sure that in the future procurement that is corrected, so that this program is indeed targeting the indigent girl learners in the selected schools across the province. But also, I still don't understand how was it possible to distribute sanitary towels to grade 4 learners. It just escapes my understanding. But those were the findings that that are in the report. As to how are we planning to get things right, we now are making orders for sanitary towels based on school requests. So the schools will request a particular stock that will last them for 6 months, and then we procure based on those requests. So it is no longer now a determination that is made from head office. Schools are able to tell us that we're in this quintile, we're in need of so much sanitary towels because we have so much learners that are from indigent families, and they make an order based on that information, and then we procure based on the orders that we get from schools. So those were the questions.
Yes, we have 2 questions here from the Eyewitness News. The first question is, given that the alleged corruption took place at the high level of the department, will action be taken against the former MEC? The second one, MEC, is with regards to the allegations against improper conduct during the procurement of JoJo tanks. Is there going to be investigation in this regard as well?
Well, the report makes no findings on the former MEC, so there is no action that will be taken because it makes no findings. On the issue of the tanks, Randwater has responded on the matter of the JoJo tanks, and we leave that process to national, because Randwater has a contract with the National Department of Education. So we'll respond in that way.
Okay, MEC, last question is from the Daily Maverick. How much money in total was spent by the department on this project, including the pilot phase?
The amount that was spent by this on this program, including the pilot phase, amounts to 129,799,654. So that is the total amount that was spent from the pilot phase and the expansion of the program from 2016 to 2017.
Okay, MEC, the question is still coming. Lady over there.
Will you be releasing the names of the officials who have been suspended pending the decision?
Well, once we follow all the processes, we will release obviously the names of the people who are implicated.
Ma'am?
From ETV News. In terms of the oversupply, just for clarity, what's the actual figure that the department could have saved that we had spent for the amount that we actually didn't need in terms of the oversupply for the more than 2 million pads? What was the cost of that?
Well, what I know for now is that there is 2,702,000. There's 2,702,065 packs that were not necessary, which were procured by the department. So we'll now have to calculate the price per pack, so that we can get the final amount which we spent as a department, but unnecessarily so. But also the report indicates that there is 4,310,000 amount that the department lost because of the non-delivery of what was ordered insofar as the pack. So there's an amount that the department lost because of procurement of unnecessary sanitary towels. There's also an amount which the department lost as a result of non-delivery of what was procured.
Sisi?
Hi, I'm Sulani from the Sunday Times. In terms of criminal action, has there been any cases opened with SATs or these officials?
Currently, we have not opened any criminal case. As I've indicated, we're only releasing this report today. We have informed them not so long ago. They are still going to undertake or to be taken through the disciplinary processes, and it is in that process that will determine whether or not further proceedings should be taken, be it criminal or otherwise.
Thanks, MEC. In the absence of further questions, again, colleagues, thanks for joining us. The briefing is adjourned.
Isizulu. Hey. All right. Asizame ngaso isizulu. Namhlanje besithula umbiko i-forensic investigation eyenziwa emva kokuba umnyango wezemfundo KwaZulu-Natal wathatha isinqumo sokwakha i-project yokuprovide noma yokunikezela ama-sanitary towels kubantwana bethu ezikoleni abaqhamuka emndenini ehlwempu. Lolo hlelo ke lokunikezela kwama-sanitary towels lwasusa umkhulu umsindo ngoba kwavela izinsolo zokuthi kube khona oversupply noma ukusupplywa ngendlela eyeqile okuneyakulindelekile, but also kwakukhona nezinsolo zokuthi kukhona ongahambanga kahle ekuappointweni kwe-service provider. Umbiko ke noma ke i-department yasithatha ke isinqumo sokufaka uphenyo olwalenziwa nguPhumlani Mkhize and Associates, inkampani eyenye yama-companies enlisted ne-department ukwenza ama-forensic investigation. Yayiseke iba khona ke izithulo ezenzayo. Kwezinye izinto ezitholile le company ukuthi kwaba khona ubudedengu obukhulu ekumanenjweni kwale project. Lokho okuhlanganisa ukuthi i-pilot project okokuqala le eyayenziwe ngo-20 million akubanga khona ucwaningo lokuthi ihambe kanjani nanokuthi yiziphi izinto okufuna zilungiswe ukuya phambili. So emva kokuba kukhokhwe u-20 million wokuqala okwakuyi-pilot project, kwabe sekuqhutshekwa ngaphandle kokuthi kwenziwe ucwaningo, kwaqhutshekwa ne-program okokuqala kwaphinde kwakhokhwa imali engango-54,899,000 ukuqhubeka nokuthenga amanye ama-sanitary towels ngonyaka ka-2017. That was around April. Kuthe ngako futhi unyaka ka-2017 around October kwase kuphuma elinye futhi order lika 54,899,000 lokuthenga amanye ama-sanitary towels. Now lokhu kwalidele ekuthenini ke bese kuba khona ukusupplywa okuningi okwedlulele ezikoleni zethu zaKwaZulu-Natal. Amanye ama-sanitary towels agcina eseyisiwa kuma-district offices, amanye asiwa nase-head office. Lokho kwakutshengisa ukuthi alibanga khona ucwaningo labantwana ngempela abadinga lezi zivikeli zabo bangabe beseyinsukwini zabo amantombazane afunda ezikoleni zethu. So ke i-investigation yaphinde yathola nanokuthi kukhona ama-sanitary towels angafikanga nhlobo ezikoleni, kepha imali yawo eyakhokhwa umnyango, imali elinganiselwa ku-4 million yakhokhwa ukuthenga ama-sanitary towels, kepha awazange azafike ezikoleni zethu. Ngokombiko kuvela ukuthi inani lama-sanitary towels athengwa ngokungafanele alinganiselwa ku-2,702,000 okuyinani lama-sanitary towels athengwa kungafanele. Umbiko uyakuveza futhi ukuthi esigabeni sokuqala sokunweba soku-expanda i-program kwavela ukuthi kune-oversupply, but abantu noma ama-officials abe-responsible for ukumaneja le program akufihla lokho akangakuveza kwinhloko yomnyango ukuthi kune-oversupply, but baqhubeka bathenga inani elifanayo lama-sanitary towels even sebebonile ukuthi kune-oversupply. Okunye futhi okumangazile okuvela kwi-report ukuthi lama-sanitary towels azanikezwa ngisho iy'ngane zaka grade 4 okuyingane zamantombazane amancane really angakafiki la ebakhona sesikhathini sokuthi noma abeseyinsukwini zawo every month, but kwaba nokuthengwa kwama-sanitary towels anikezwa wona lamantombazane amancane. Okunye okuvelayo ukuthi lama-sanitary towels aveze noma aza adistributwa kuyikole lezi eziko-quintile 5, iy'kole lezi ngempela ezingaswele ezi-attendwa iy'ngane zomntakabani, kepha sakwazi kwathathwa ama-sanitary towels ayekade aimed for ingane eziqhamuka emndenini ehluphekayo azasiwa nakulezi izikole. So yonke ke in summary izethulo ezitholwe ilombiko wocwaningo obuyenziwa around this program. Base ke benza ke ama recommendations ukuthi u-Deputy Director General u-Chief Director we-Social Enrichment Programs kanjalo no-Director we-Special Needs Education ababhekane nekomiti lokuqondiswa igwegwe ngoba ibona ababe responsible for this program and bayazi ukuqhubeka kwayo nanokuthi iyamosheka kanjani and abangakubika ukumosheka kwayo kepha kwaqhubeka i-department ya-encourage amanye ama-cost while bona sebazi ukuthi kune oversupply. Lo mbiko ke siwamkelile ke njenge-department ngase nguthumela ke ku-HOD ukuthi kuqhutshekwe ke kwenziwe njengokuyalelwa kwalo mbiko. Sikhuluma nje u-HOD ureportile ukuthi lama officials amathathu are implicated kule report asesuspendiwe pending ukuqhubeka kwawo kokuqondiswa kwegwegwe zawo. Siphinda futhi sifise ukubika ngodaba oluthinta omunye womqondisi for employee relations ongomunye wabasebenzi osuspendiwe kwi-department kepha ke osuspendele okungahlangene nale report yama-sanitary towels. Sibika lokhu ngoba inkulumo ezikhona ngaphandle zitshengisa ukuthi noma zisola ukuthi kungenzeka ukube kukhona nje asukelelwa kona kepha angakwenzanga. Now siyafisa ke ukuthi sichaze ukuthi umqondisi we-employee relations lo naye osuspendiwe ususpendelwe yena ukuthi kuneyinsolo nophenyo selwenziwe lokuthi kunothisha ngesikhathi kuma kwamaphepha kamatikuletsheni ngonyaka odlule owa-appointeka kungafanele ukuthi appointe ngoba wayengaqualify ngokwama requirements. Uma kuphenya ukuthi lo thisha ke uqasheke kanjani kwavela ukuthi lo mqondisi watshela abantu abathile kwi-center yase-Newcastle ukuthi lo thisha kufanele aqashwe noma engaqualify ngoba unobudlelwane no-MEC. Kusho ukuthi nje mangakubeka nje bukhoma kwa-allege ukuthi kuthiwa uthe uthandana no-MEC. Kwase kuba-ke uqashwa kanjalo ke lo thisha ngenhlanhla lingakapheli isonto nangendlela ayiphatha ngayo lo thisha kwi-marking center kwavela ukuthi ikhona into engalungile. U-HOD kanjalo no-DDG o-responsible for i-curriculum nama-assessment balithola lolo daba base bemsusa bamkhipha lo thisha kwi-marking and wonke ama-scripts ayesemakhiwa aqalwa phansi amakwa othisha ababe qualified ukuthi bamakele lokho. So ke lokho ke lo mqondisi ke ubhekene nalelo cala lokuthi wa-influencer uku-appointwa kothisha ukuthi ayomaka lo thisha engaqualify and kwasebenzisa ney'nsolo ezithi wasebenzisa negama lika-MEC ukuthi lo thisha maka-appointwe ngoba unobudlelwane no-MEC wake-education. So ke njengomnyango ke siyafisa ukuthi sikusho kucaca ukuthi ngeke simelane nezenzo zobugebengu nobuqhophololo kanjalo nanoma yiluphi uhlobo lwenkohlakalo. Siyafisa ukuthi njengoba sihlale sisho kubasebenzi bomnyango uma kukhona umuntu othuthunywe ngu-MEC anikeze an unlawful instruction siyacela ukuthi loyo muntu areportwe ngokukhulu ukushesha. Ungathintana nami ngokukhulu ukuphuthuma ngoba mina ayikho instruction e-unlawful engiwe ngiyikhiphela ama-officials noma ureporte ofisini likaNdunankulu ngoba siyafisa ukuqeda ukusetshenziswa kwamagama abaholi ngendlela engalungile. Okwesibili siyafisa ukuthi siqede ukusetshenziswa kwegama le-ANC ngendlela engalungile. Kungako siphinda sikugcizelele ukuthi nanoma ubani othi uyobethunywe yi-ANC kuyofuna loyo muntu areportwe kubuzakale ku-ANC ukuthi ngempela imthumile yini lona. Nginesiqiniseko sokuthi i-ANC ayizibandakanyi nam-procurement eyenziwa kuma-department. I-ANC iba ne-view on policy matters and if the ANC has a view on policy matters that view iyoyi-communicator no-MEC walo department as deployee of the ANC. U-MEC wa-education because I'm a deployee of the ANC I occupy ANC njengokuvotelwa ngayo abantu. So i-ANC uma ine-view on matters on policy matters aka-education iyokhuluma nami ngeke isuke ijombele kuma-officials iyokhuluma nabo. So kungako sithi sifisa ukuthi silwe nenkohlakalo, silwe nobugebengu, silwe nokusebenziswa kwamagama abaholi ngendlela engalungile, silwe nokusetshenziswa kwegama le-ANC ngendlela engalungile, kepha futhi sifuna ukuvikela abasebenzi abasebenza ngobuqotho nokuthembeka. Lokho sizikhommithile njengabasebenzi njengama-leaders and ama-leaders e-ANC for that matter ukuthi wonke umsebenzi osebenza ngobuqotho nokuthembeka engakusebenza khululeke ngoba avikelwe yithi njengo-MECs but uyovikelwa nayi-ANC okuyiyona ibusayo inhlangano ebusayo. Siyabonga kakhulu.
Siyabonga MEC. Sesifike ekugcineni kwesithangami sethu. Siyabonga.
Ayike. Siyabonga. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
I don't have any laptop, but you can also. So let's make your own calculation. Siyabonga.